Welcome to Loveys Sports Report. I'm Luke Lovekin, and this is the Loveys Sports Report podcast for the 16th of February 2014. First things first, I'm going to kick off with the announcement of Derek Jeter retiring and what that means for the Yankees. So I think for the Yankees now, they're obviously losing their captain at the end of the 2014 season. They haven't really got anyone to step into his spot at shortstop. But that said, I don't think it'll be hard for the Yankees to go out and find another shortstop of Derek Jeter's caliber that he is at now, not that he was at in the prime of his career. Maybe not offensively though, not last season but the season before when Derek Jeter was fully fit. He led the league in hits, so that kind of offense is hard to replace. But I think the hardest part about replacing Derek Jeter is that finding another player where losing just is not an option. And you see it in just some of the great players throughout any sports, like Kobe Bryant for the LA Lakers. He's another guy who losing is just not an option. And I think the guys like your Derek Jeters and your Kobe Bryants are both coming towards the end of their careers now. That's something that all the players around them, they get a little bit of it. And if you look at the Yankees from the late 90s, they had a whole team that was, the whole clubhouse had that mentality that losing was not an option. And it wasn't just in the playoffs that come out. It was all year. They didn't want to lose any games at all. And I think that's going to be the hardest thing with Derek Jeter to replace. And obviously the Yankees aren't going to replace a captain anytime soon. They haven't really got anyone that's looking like stepping up to taking that spot. And with the penalties for going and getting a tier 1 free agent, losing that round 1 draft pick, it's hard to see how they're going to develop that in their organisation. Who they don't typically have a good farm system. They don't have guys coming up like Derek Jeter, who was raised through the Yankees farm system. And it'll be interesting to see how they get there, because Yankees fans, which I am myself, we generally don't accept anything other than a playoff run. Each year that doesn't end in us playing some postseason baseball is a lost season, and really any season that doesn't at least get us to the ALCS or the World Series is a lost season. So to rebuild, they need to get draft picks, but they haven't really got any bargaining chips to go and get these draft picks. So maybe they need to take the approach that the Dodgers are taking, and that's start getting some of these international free agents. So they've just got the Japanese pitcher, and that's great, but they spent a lot for him, and especially when Cashman comes out and says that he may be a number 3 starter. I mean, that's a lot of money to be paying your number 3 starting pitcher. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this season plays out for Jeter. I hope he doesn't get hurt. Hope he can have a nice long season playing at shortstop, and he can play it at his best. I think people, some people wanted him to try for the all-times hit record. They thought maybe he could move around to third base and play there, play a bit or centre field, or play a bit of DH. But I think for Derek Jeter, he is the Yankees shortstop. In his mind, from a kid, he said he was going to be the Yankee shortstop. And when he can't be the Yankee shortstop anymore, then it's time for him to leave baseball. So he's not going to... And I respect that as a player. That's he's set his benchmark, and once he can't reach that anymore, he's no longer going for the cash grab. But he's going to try and just move on to the next part of his life. And now, one thing Jeter always attributes all of his success to is his upbringing. So the way his mum and dad brought him up. And the same is true of a lot of athletes. I once remember hearing Ken Griffey, who had that famous strut when he would hit a home run. When he got asked about it, he said he's trying to show no emotion, because the first time he hit a home run, he did like the big strut and really showed it off, and his dad was like, "You don't ever do that. You don't ever show up the pitcher by strutting. You show him up by hitting him over the fence." And that's where the Ken Griffey strut came from. But on Saturday, which is yesterday for us here, I umpired a little league game of baseball. I'm an accredited umpire myself, and have played for many years. And I've noticed it more and more so now than when I played juniors. But the parents in sport just seem to be getting more unsportsmanlike, and they're pushing their kids to do things that maybe their kids don't really either want to do, or they're not necessarily sure that they want to do it their parents' way, or maybe they just want to go there for fun and their parents want them to try and make some money out of it eventually, and maybe they see something in the kids that the kids don't see yet. But I think every kid dreams of every boy dreams of playing their sport professionally anyway, and but it's a sport that they love, not just any sport. It's only the sports they love that they dream of playing professionally. And if they're not dreaming of playing it professionally, then they probably don't love it. But anyway, I had an altercation with one of the parents of a child in the team who happened to be a coach as well. I caught him up on a rule. There was an almost collision at home plate, and I just reminded him that all juniors have to slide at home plate to avoid collisions where possible. It's a safety rule, and just to remind his player that next time he should slide in that situation. The coach got his back up, and then eventually he asked me how long I'd been umpiring, and then told me that he'd been how long I'd been playing baseball. And then he proceeded to tell me that he'd been playing for 40 years. I remember playing with this guy before I joined the military, and I remember striking him out twice when one of my last games actually that I played before I joined the military when I was pitching. And he had a bit of a wanker's attitude about it then, and it appears that nothing's changed in 8 years. But I thought this was an outlet to maybe talk to anyone else who's a parent in sport, and I think you just need to let your kids go out there and have fun. If they enjoy the game, and if other kids, and not rubbing it into other kids' faces, because you want all the kids to enjoy the game, and that's what will bring it on up to the next level, because you'll notice that each age group that you go up with kids, the more drop off and stop playing. And if you make it a negative or a not fun environment for a kid, they're not going to want to play next year. And then you get to a situation where we're in now as a league with not many good juniors coming up through to bolster the senior side, and it's making the competition suffer. As I talk about juniors coming up to bolster teams, this is the sort of the main thing I wanted to talk about for this podcast, and that's team building. And team building is, I'm going to refer to it mostly in sport, but team building as a whole, it can work anywhere, including in the workplace. So if you're listening to this and you don't play sports, you may be able to implement some of this stuff in the workplace. And the first thing I think you need to do with the team, if you're just taking over a team, is you need to build it from the ground up. So you need to have a look through your staff or your organisation or the guys that are on your team, and you need to look at the older statesmen, so the guys that have been around for years and have the knowledge to pass on, but not necessarily the skill set to pass on anymore. The skill set may have passed them by. And the juniors who have the skill set and the athleticism, but not necessarily the knowledge of why they're doing it. And you need to combine both of those. So for our team, we have 3 divisions, and if it was the world according to Luke, which it's not, but if it was, I would use Division 3 as a feeder grade, and Division 2 as well, but mostly Division 3 for anyone who's in their first year of under 17s, which is our eldest junior grade. They would be able to play Division 3, and some of the older guys there who don't have the skills anymore but just want to play for the fun of it and can explain the game to these juniors and teach them the ropes and how to progress to that next level. Then in their second year, I'd start looking at putting them in Division 2. Now Division 2, here there's quite a jump from Division 3 to Division 2 in baseball down here, and with that jump you need to remember that some players just aren't as good as others, and some players may not ever make that transition from Division 3 to Division 2, and that's fine. Some may not want to take it to that next level. The ones who take it to Division 2 though, they have to be more serious about playing and probably want to play Division 1 at some point in their future. Now here you've also got some of your older blokes who have the knowledge but probably still have the skills to maybe a lessened skill set, but still have some skills to demonstrate how to do it in a game situation. And so from that point on there, you should also have a group of people that are replaceable into Division 1. You need, and they're your replacement level. They're people that I'll refer to as replacement level players. And you'll have those from 3 to 2 and 2 to 1 as well. But mostly from 2 to 1, you need a bunch of replacement level players that can bounce from both grades. It's in Division 2 that you refine their skills, and you put them in situations where you give them the opportunity both to succeed and fail, and both are important. So for each failure, it builds a bit of character, and it gives them a chance to learn what not to do and what to do, and how they can do it differently next time. And then with each time they succeed, so each time they make a difficult play, they turn a double play, or that they win a game, they win a tight game, they maybe make the finals and they get a bit of finals experience there against other serious competitors. That they gain a bit more experience, and they become a bit more game hardened, and they start to develop clutch in Division 2. And clutch is, for me, clutch isn't, you can't get clutch in a normal game. You can only use your clutch in either playoffs or deciding games, or games that you need to win to make the playoffs. That's where your clutch really starts to develop. Because in a game that's just a regular season game that doesn't really have anything on it, it's much easier to brush off, and you can't develop that same kind of intensity that you can get from a finals game. So anyway, so Division 2, we're looking to increase their skill set, but allow them to use their skill set to try and build the character of a player. and that's in their second